Hi everyone, and thank you for joining me today on Ascension 1111. So today I'm very excited because I have a video for you that's a viewer question from my previous video that I made about Ascension symptoms and four advanced Ascension symptoms. So I'll link that video up here in case you haven't watched it so far. But in this video, because it's a very interesting question that I got, and I'm going to address it in a general way. The question was, how do we tell where the energy is coming from? Because I was speaking about spiritual downloads, light downloads in that video. So this person asked me, how do you know where the energy is coming from, and thereby after that determine what we are here to channel. So the way I interpreted this question is essentially, how do we tell what source the light download is coming from? Like, is it coming from the angels? Is it coming from my higher self? Is it coming from some other part in the cosmos? Or which aspect of my own multidimensional self is it coming from? How do I know that? And yeah, so basically, essentially, that's the question. According to me, that's how I interpreted it. And that's what I'm going to be addressing today. Now, this is a very, very vast topic. I'm going to be taking you through, it's like a mini course in itself, this video, because I'm going to be taking you through all the different parts, of our multidimensional self and the various types of guides that can give us information. So all the possible broad sources from which you can channel information, channel light, get downloads, get activations. What are these? So I'm very excited, but I'm going to give you little explanations for each one, because it's just too many. If I explain each one in details, it can take days. So I hope you're excited for this video. I really am. And please subscribe if you are new here. Give this video a thumbs up if you like this topic. That's how I know what kind of videos you'd like to watch from me. Also, check out below this video. I have personal services that really help you to come into your ascension. I have a beautiful course that I've made called Embody the Fifth Dimensional Vibration. This course takes you through the embodiment of all of these levels that I'll be speaking about today. So it's like a, I don't even know what to call it. It's been made with so much devotion. It's really the whole process of ascension, until the fifth dimensional embodiment. So it's really, really important. It's what we need if we are on the path of ascension. So I really made it with a lot of devotion. So check it out below this video as well. And now let's get into this video. So two things that I'm going to be speaking about. The first one is that if you want to know about light downloads, where they come from, and I'm looking down because I'm referring to some notes that I've written. So if you want to know where these light downloads are coming from, number one, you need to have the knowledge. You need to know what are the different multidimensional parts of me. So first is the knowledge, being basically having that knowledge that these are the different levels that exist in creation. Like I am this human self, but there's also my higher self. There's also these other levels that I'm going to speak about. So number one is that, to be aware. And number two is, after you are aware of which levels they are, that isn't enough. Like bookish knowledge or just hearing it from a video, it definitely activates you at the light level. So it activates here, information coming in. But then after that, we need to allow it in the body and discern. So that means we need to feel what is the vibration of each of those. So that essentially only happens when we make certain choices in our life. It's a step-by-step process. And again, my course takes you through this. So it's the activation of light and then making certain choices in your physical life that move you in that vibration. So that happens when the higher heart opens up, which we also call the fifth dimensional awakening or fifth dimensional embodiment. So I just want to put this out there, that just because you are listening to the different parts of your multidimensionality and you know about it, it doesn't necessarily, knowledge doesn't mean embodiment, but knowledge is a very important first step. So first you know about it, and then awareness is different from knowledge. Being present is different from knowledge, and that really comes in with physical embodiment when we make choices to choose that vibration. So you might know the higher self vibration looks like this, but or the higher self is all about this, but can you recognize it in the body? from other vibrations, that this is now the higher self. That happens through the higher heart, that discernment, and that is what is important. And that comes in and becomes more refined, and you tune into higher and higher levels of each one after you basically, it's a step-by-step process. Okay, without further ado, let's get into the different levels. So the first thing I'm going to speak about is your multidimensional nature, and I'm going to give you the broad categories that this is about. So like I said, you're not just a physical human. So right now you're a third dimensional human, right? Like that's how you know yourself. Most of us know ourselves like that when we're going out in society. So I would call that the ego self. Yeah. And a lot of that is based in fear, is based in doubting as well. Or we just associate ourselves as being physical only and limited, like we are just physical, and everything we experience is the 5 senses and the physical senses. So that's one aspect. Then the higher aspect above third dimensional, the main ones, of course there's 4D, etc. I'm going to take you through the main ones that are important for your ascension. So the next level, the important level, is the soul level. The soul level is, you can say, the 7th dimensional level, the soul, twin soul level. And here, when we are getting downloads from our soul level, the messages make us feel magical. So it activates the vibration of magic, of purity, because this is how you were born from source, how you were born from the divine mother, the Holy Spirit realms, whatever you want to call it. And when you're born, you're pure. So it's this beautiful remembrance of source, of knowing what type of a soul I am born as. And you know, like when a baby is born, they have this energy to live, to be alive, to explore everything. They know, at one level, they know what they are. Like they know what they're, right now I really want food, right now I really want to play with this. There's no doubt in their minds. So they just really go for it. So that is kind of purity, you know, where it's not where the mind has come in yet. It's just based on pure, this feeling of joy, that this is what I feel joyful about now. So it's quite simple like that. And then just going after it and engaging in it. So purity, magic, lightness, this is what the soul levels bring you in your life. This is what they activate, and synchronicity as well. Then the next main important level is the higher self level. So that's another aspect of you. The higher self is the first angelic part of you. And when we attune to the higher self levels, this is the 8th dimensional, if I haven't mentioned already. This is our first Trinity, Holy Trinity level. So everything in creation replicates that Trinity of Father, Mother, God. Anyway, we won't get into that right now, but the higher self exists like a trinity. So this is the higher self on top, and this is your soul on this side and your twin soul on this side. So when messages come through the higher self, this can bring us messages about marrying ourselves. And when we really get in touch with our soul, but it's not just our soul and what my vibration is, but how can I serve? So this is the first level of service. And purpose, and also how we relate to other people, because this is the merge with the twin soul as well. So you might get messages about your particular purpose in this life, and how you are to co-create with others as well, if that makes sense. Then the next level, which is related, kind of similar, but a higher level, is the I am level. This is at the 11th dimensional level. This is our God self. And when we get messages from here, they land us in the vibration of truth. So higher self level is not yet fully truth. So we're not, you know, it's more like divine love. It's more like, yes, there is some channeling coming in from truth, but it's only when we truly embody our I am presence, our God self, when we can really become true channelers. So before this, we might be channeling some messages and they'll be pure messages, but they're not really yet fully discernment from truth, the truth levels, the mind of God levels. Truth is related to mind of God, where it's like there's codes that exist, there's the blueprint of everything in creation. So when we embody our I am presence, or the 11th dimensional level, then we have access to those codes. So we can actually channel for ourselves and other people codes like how they were born. For example, I make spiritual portraits, like galactic portraits for people, soul portraits for people. So these type of things in truth that are not just coming from intuition and getting messages, but really the core of the code is revealed to you, how this person was born, how this soul was born, or any other type of messages for them that are flowing from the realms of truth, from how they were created. This is like the seed, the blueprint. So whatever you create from that is separate, whether it's art or writing, doesn't really matter, but it's channeling truth directly from the mind of God. So that is the I am level, your God self. And that is what it lands you in when you receive information from there. Okay, so the next one is our Christ self and our Christ level, which you can say is the 12th dimensional, because 13 or 0, 13 and 0 are interchangeable, is source, is God. So right before that is Christ. It's how we exist in source. So this part of ourselves is like, this part of ourselves exists always in source. It's a spark, you can say. It's like a spark of light, because God is light. So it's like that individual spark that you are, and you exist in source. Even though you might be you're a physical human now, you might have had other lives, doesn't matter, you're moving around, but at the same time you always exist in source, because you were born from it. So it's that part of source that is you see. So that is the Christ self. Now this level is really related to true service. So before this, of course, we activate the vibration of service from the levels of the higher self, the 8th dimensional level, when we start channeling from there or embodying it. But the Christ level is true service. It's like devotion. I don't want to say sacrifice, because that word is really misinterpreted on by us humans, but it is sacrifice in the sense of you're not compromising on something, but it's just you feel love for creation, and you feel love for fellow humans or fellow life forms, and you have no choice but to go in that direction and serve, because you know what you are. You know yourself to exist in source and be totally abundant, totally filled with love. So your life any longer is not about living just for yourself. It is true devotion, it is true service. And just by breathing and being, you radiate that golden light that is associated with the Christ or the Buddha. Yeah, so that is what this level is. So when you're getting downloads from here, and not even just downloads, you'll at this level, because we are fully embodied in our enlightenment, it's not even about receiving, we just become something. So it's like the Christ light moves through us and creates pathways on the earth. So I hope this was helpful. Now the next aspect I'm getting into quickly also is that these are of course parts of yourself that I have explained so far, right? Like your own ascension column. If you imagine God is here, or your God self is here, and here is your higher self, and here is the physical human, and all of those levels in between, and you consider it like a vertical column. These are parts of you. You see, you, physical human, existing in the God self, and that vertical column of light that you are. But also you can receive messages from other beings that exist, right? Like the angelics and others that I'll explain now. So how do you discern that? So very quickly, the first one I'd like to talk about is elementals. So elementals are different beings that exist mainly in levels above the 3rd dimension. So it could be the lower 4th, it could be higher 4th dimension, 5th dimension. These beings are like plant beings, fairies, pixies, all of those things that you can think of, dryads, which is like the tree beings, and these types of consciousness, these are called the elementals. Basically, they're responsible for different things. And they also activate a lot of magic and synchronicity, connection with nature. So when you're there's a lot of joyful, playful energy in your life, and there's magic and synchronicity happening, connection with nature. Maybe you go out into nature and you're starting to feel like there's magic, like the wind rustles, and it feels like this magical space has been created for you, even though you can't physically see, but there's beings present, and these are usually elemental beings. They're present in nature especially. So but they're also in your house, and when you have crystals around, gemstones, then of course they're present as well. So that's the elemental energy. It's more light, it's more playful, attunement to nature, synchronicity and magic in your life. Then there's the angelic realms, the different angelics, the archangels especially. There's different other angels too. But basically the angels attune you to light. So if you're getting messages and they are messages of illumination, of direction of your purpose, of protection as well, then these could be coming from angels. And especially angels will be working with us when we have not yet embodied our fifth dimensional vibration yet. So we are not yet aligned to our own column, our own God self. We haven't begun that process yet. Then the angels are really helping us to bring in the light. So they kind of like, you haven't fully opened up to the light yet, and there isn't that pathway yet created at the embodiment level. So the angelics come and help you when you have that desire. So they serve this beautiful purpose, and elementals also will be helping you. So they essentially bring you messages of light and hope, illumination, direction, protection, all of these things. Ascended masters are also sort of angelic beings. However, the difference is that they have had lives on earth or on other physical, on other planes of existence, like other planets, etc. So they have more of an understanding of what it's like to be in a physical body. Angels don't. They give you this lighter perspective that is about the light. And but the ascended masters have been humans like you, and they have ascended. So they have that knowledge how to ascend when you are in a physical body. They know what pain feels like, what suffering feels like, how to. So they, the guidance that they give has to do with, it's more practical. So it'll have the similar elements to what the angels bring, which is protection, light, illumination, all of those things. But the difference is that the guidance will feel more practical. It'll be more about empowerment. It's not just about, yes, there's hope, and yes, there's this magic, and yes, you can do it, and more of a light nature. Ascended masters want you to take the action, and even if you have to go through the death process, the emotional death process a little bit, get out of your comfort zone, they'll be guiding you what practical steps you can take. So it's more practical feeling, more grounded. Okay, then we have your light family. So of course all of these are light family, but your light family as in your own root, your own sort of let's see, what have I written here, that comes from your own lineage, your own soul lineage. For example, if you were born as a human, that is your main vibration, you may have certain ascended masters that began as humans and then ascended, right? So that might be somebody that is really connected with you. Let's say you were born on another planet, you have a Pleiadian consciousness is your main soul essence, then you may have the Pleiadians working with you. And doesn't matter what vibration, what kind of a soul we are, all of these beings anyways work with us, you see. So because a person who is going through their ascension process, they have all the help that they need. And all of these beings, these light beings work with us anyway. But so it might be an ET being, a being that exists on other planets, or even beyond, those that sort of work through these spaceships and have these different points above the earth where they are located in the ethereal spaces as well, and through that they guide us on our mission. So if you're feeling more of an ET presence and it's also pure, then this would be your light family, or beings that are assisting you, even if it's not light family, in your ascension process. Then we have the creation angels. So the creation angels are the angels basically that reside by God, you can say. So it's like they create all of life. So God is the totality of everything. And the creation angels sort of just sing the praise of the Lord. So it's like they're feeling what God or source is like, and they just sing, because when you're filled in with that, you just sing, oh my God, how beautiful, how holy. They sing that, and through that all of life is born. Isn't that beautiful? So it's like they sing holy, holy, sort of thing. So they sing things into being. So this is a very high level of vibration. So when the creation angels typically don't work with humans as such until we have embodied a higher level in our ascension. But when you're feeling that, you know, that service for all of life, that you just sing and create into being, and it's like this being filled up with source and just creating from that space, then creation angels also may be working with you. Okay, then finally we have God and Goddess. So these are also sort of levels of our own embodiment, you can say, or you can think of them as external forces, doesn't really matter. But the Goddess, so when we have embodied our you know, our higher levels of our ascension, we become a portal for the Goddess to flow through us. And whether you are male, female, or any other gender, it doesn't really matter. You are still the feminine receiving. As a human, you are receiving, like our crown opens up and we receive light, right? So you are still a channel for the Goddess to flow through you. And the Goddess, you can think of it, you know, as the feminine, the divine feminine, or the mother. It's a bit complicated to explain, but just think of it as the divine feminine, the ultimate divine feminine. It's like God and Goddess mating, right? So the Goddess is the aspect of God that flows. God is just still. It's the stillness, and the Goddess aspect is the one that moves within it, that creates worlds, right? So the Goddess is the one that can flow through us. God is more like what is that word? All permeating. It's still. So the Goddess aspect, if you think of it as being, let's say, black, then it's the you will be anchored in the vibration of power, of magnetism, of what it's like to say no, of what it's like to have strong boundaries, of what even destruction is like, that you know, it needs to the death process, it needs to let go of certain things so that new light can flow in. It's this constant ebb and flow. So that is the Goddess flowing through you when you're getting that sort of those sort of initiations, you see. You can say the color is black, maybe. So it's power initiations, and it's the aspect of infinity, that you can have whatever you want and you can magnetize whatever you want, and there's no limit to it. It's infinite. That's you. Yeah. Then the God aspect of you is sort of like, you know, it's the Christ self that I explained before, but it feels like God is speaking to you. Source is speaking to you directly and is speaking to you from within you. You see, so it's like this is when we feel like all is well in all of creation. No matter what is happening in my life, even if there's really, really intense things happening, there's this feeling of eternity, that nothing really dies. All just is. All is always well. And you feel like the light of 1,000 suns is beaming from you. So it lands you in your creative purpose, as the God that you are, your purpose, your co-creative purpose with God, how you are co-creating with God, what you were born for. So I hope this video helped you. I hope that it helps you to discern, you know, some of the things you are channeling. It can be a lot of information. I know it's a lot of information. In my course, Embody the Fifth Dimensional Vibration, I take you through all of these steps, or at least half of these steps, and there will be a more advanced course coming up later where we go to the higher levels beyond the higher self. So the Fifth Dimensional Embodiment course takes you until the higher self level, you know, addressing each and every aspect of it, and so much more than I've spoken about in this video. There's a chapter for each one, at least one chapter, where you're doing meditations, you're bringing in that light, then you're doing practical exercises which help you to recognize that vibration in your physical life and to choose it, which is what brings power, which is what brings real embodiment, which is how you can actually discern and channel from those realms and not just be this human that receives from those realms, but you align with that aspect of you. I hope that makes sense. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe and like this video, and I will see you in the next one. Check out all of the links that I was speaking about, my courses, services, And also I forgot to mention, I have this new subscription system where you will be getting exclusive videos. So check out the details of that also below this video, because it's for a nominal price and it'll really take you into so much more detail than I can offer on this channel otherwise. This video was particularly detailed, but some of the videos are shorter, and if you are interested in more in-depth embodiment for a nominal price, then check out those subscriptions as well. And bye, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.